Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chuck Terry with Crescent and Valiani. Today we're going to show you how to quickly outline some military patches. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with having my CorelDraw open. I'm going to go to File, New, start a new design from a blank document. And then I actually have three separate patches that I'm going to be showing you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this a little bit quickly to kind of illustrate how fast you can create an outline around an object. So I'm going to go File, Import, then I'm going to go to my Customers folder and go into the Customers folder here, and we're going to select patch number 1. And we're going to hit the Enter key, and as you can see, it comes in fairly large. The overall size is 42 inches by 56 inches. That's the overall size of this print or picture that was sent. At the moment, the size doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to outline this, and the easiest thing for us to do is to go to View, go into Wireframe, and because this is made up of basically circular shapes, we can go with the circular shapes and make some modifications to the circles. So rather than trying to trace around that and get a perfectly symmetrical curve, we're going to do some outlines and merge and shape some objects together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my circle. I'm going to draw a circle, hold the Control key down to make it symmetrical, and then select my pick tool, move it up to the center here, get it somewhat positioned where it looks like it's even. If I need to arrow over with the arrow keys on the keyboard, I can do so, bring it down, bring it over. So that circle that we've got in there now, it's fairly close to what represents the main portion of the patch. It's 24 and almost 3/4 inches big. Again, at this point, we don't really care. Now we have to deal with the remaining portions of this design. So I can simply come in here and go to my drawing tools, click the 2-point line, click, drag a line to follow the path. This has a little curve to it, so I'm going to switch over to my arc or 3-point curve. Come down, oops, sorry, undo. Come over here, get to my node, click, bring it over, bring that out just a little bit, go back to my straight line or 2-point line, bring that over. It's not quite exactly where it needs to be, but we'll come back and edit that in just a moment. Go back to my 3-point curve, come over to here. I'm going to hold the Control key down, and you can see that it's not symmetrical or shaped just right. So I'm not going to hold the Control key down. I'm just going to go right to that point, come down, hold the Control, give myself a little bit of adjustment there, and we'll come in and make some modifications to that in just a moment. So again, come back over here, 2-point line, go to my outline or my node, draw a straight line out, go back to my curve, bring it over, slightly bend it out, go back to 2-point line, bring it over, and then go back and finish it off. Okay. Now I've got the patch outlined, but because the first object that I selected was a circle, it is not actually, I can't really define the control points, so I actually have to convert it to a curve. So I'm going to select the object like I have, go to Objects, Convert to Curves. Now when I double click on it, I can see my control points. So I've got 4 control points on the circle, and then over here I can see where I'm close to intersecting with the bottom portion of the patch. So I'm going to double click here. I'm going to add enough point. So if I double click onto it and I put in a blue square, that adds in a control point. Come over to this side, do the same thing, add in a control point. Then I can click on one time, put a little asterisk on that curve or that object, hit the delete key on the keyboard, and now that bottom portion's gone. We'll come over here and double click on that. So now that all that bottom portion of that arc is gone. So now I need to join the objects together. So I'm going to go Object, select all the objects here, hold the Control key, and then go to Objects and Combine. Now, when I combine them, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to automatically combine them. I have to do that manually. So I'm going to go back to my pick tool. When I click on my pick tool, you can see there's two triangles here, one here and one here. Those two represent where these points would merge together. So I'm going to simply just drag that over, drop it on top. Now it turns it into a square, and I know that that object is closed. If I come over to this side, I have the same situation. So I'm going to click on it, click drag. If I let go, that's fine. Bring it back, close. Now, this is going to be a triangle. So in this object, I've got square points or square nodes to everywhere. Let's modify that just a little bit. Make that fit just a little bit. So I'm just going to click on that, move it in. And I basically have an outline patch. Now, once you've got the outline, then all you have to simply do is make sure you know what the overall size of it is. I want to keep this symmetrical, and the overall size of the patch is 4.5625 inches. So it's 4 9/16 inches. Hit tab, tab. Now I've got this outline of this patch. At this point in time, I'm going to go File, Save As, go to my customer's location, and we're going to call this patch number 1, patch 1. We're going to save it as a CorelDraw file so that if I have to come back and make any changes or edit to it, I can do so. Then once I've saved the file, I'm going to go File, Export, and I'm going to export it as a PLT file or HPGL plotter file. I'm going to click Export. Actually, I'm going to put it into a folder where I can access it. So let's go to the C drive, go to Valiani, VStudio. Let's go into our PLT library. I'm going to go to my 2020 West Coast Art and Frame, patch number 1, export. And then with the PLT HPGL export function, you want to make sure you leave all the defaults here alone, but you do want to make sure your curve resolution is set really low. So then you click OK, and the file has now been exported and is available in the Valiani software. So let's minimize that. Let's open Create. Let's start File New. And I'm going to go into Openings, insert Clip Art, go to West Coast 2020, go to Patch, open as a unique import. Now I've got the exact outline of the patch. From this point, I'm going to use my contour tool to determine how much of an offset I want from one to the next. So in this case, I'm going to go 0.125. I'm going to put it on layer 1 for now. And then from there, I'm going to do another contour, 1/4 inch. I'm going to put it on layer 2 this time. And now I've got my outline of my patch. So that will allow you to change the different plotting processes. If I want to go from different layers, I can move it from a layer. If I want to add different types of cuts, maybe I want to make that a reverse bevel cut, so I can float the mat or float the patch onto the mat. I'd actually delete the first object and then change that to a reverse cut, and then that way I can have this cut out as a reverse bevel, 1/8 of an inch reveal around the original object, and then do a 1/4 inch around it.